Hey guys, I'm Ofra and welcome back to my channel. So today's video will be on AgGrid implementation within a Streamlit web app. I've already made two other videos with Streamlit AgGrid implementation where we discussed about working with AgGrid table, highlighting the AgGrid table, for example, the columns, deleting the rows within the Streamlit AgGrid table. I'm really grateful for all the comments, the feedbacks and the suggestions which you guys have made in those two videos. Today, based on all those feedbacks, the comments and the constructive suggestions, we created this video just based on that. For example, today I plan to demonstrate the implementation of a button within the AgGrid table. This was completely based on one of the comments which I found on one of the community posts which I recently made, and this was based on it. I also would like to implement or to showcase how we can display any update made from the front end, because the AgGrid table is mainly for our clients or for the front end users who wants to edit or add some more rows or delete any rows, and we need to display or update this table. Last but not the least, along with downloading the AgGrid table, I would love to see when the AgGrid table can be connected to our Google Sheet database or to our cloud. These are the few features which I would like to demonstrate today or showcase an app which I presume will be very helpful for any one of you who would love to use AgGrid within their Streamlit web app, and also it will be really exciting for the clients to have this direct connectivity. So let me walk you through the app which I'll be demonstrating today. So this is kind of an itinerary list where you have all this dumb data. As you can see, these are the updated itinerary. So whatever you select here or confirm these items, if you make any changes, let's say I make any edit out here as 4 and I confirm this item, this will be updated here, right? And whatever the updated itinerary is, based on that you will have a visualization, a simple bar plot you can make into anything, a line chart or area chart, whatever you want, or with any of these columns. So right now it's only with the price and the type. Those are the bar plots. That's a visualization purpose. And also you can download this in your local machine, right? Using this press to download button. The most fun part is here. You can also update this table within your cloud. That's basically your Google spreadsheet. Let me show you what this live or this quick update works here. Laptop, something like that. And quantity, let me make it 6, and price, let me put a high price. Okay, so here we see two of them, 400 and 200 for DVD and notebook. Let me put it as like 1000, right? Once I put this, it's still not out here because this table is not yet updated. So what the user needs to do, what your front end user or your client needs to do, he or she needs to press this confirm items. That's it. Once that is made, you see this itinerary table, it is updated. And once it is updated, automatically your visualization gets updated. This is pretty cool, right? Whatever change your client makes here, it reflects out here. That's pretty cool. Now the best part comes here. But before we move on to that part, let me quickly also show you what happens when I download it, okay? So you can download in two ways. One way, you can go to these rows and just export as CSV or Excel. That's one way you can do it. That's pretty easy. Other ways you can do it is press this download button, and I will just try to open it. Numbers, you see laptop 1000 comes up. This was a file 7 which just now got downloaded, right? Now the cool part comes. Okay, this I was very excited when I saw this thing. So you see, this is the database which is connected, which I have connected, which I will also showcase when I write this app. We will do it together. This is something which the cloud, which our database is connected to this AgGrid table. Let's press this update to database. Okay, there will be a progress bar which is coming. Let me quickly go here and you'll see. Look at live time, you can see at live, you can see this updates is happening. That's pretty cool, right? So it just got updated right now when I press this button. That's powerful it is. So whatever changes your clients make in this table, basically this is the AgGrid table, this is not your default Streamlit table. Whatever update is out here the client makes, it will be reflecting on your visualization. Also, you can make an update database which will be updating out here. That powerful your app can be. That's why I really wanted to showcase these features, and it's all taken from this comments and all these features which you guys have asked me in the comment section or in my community post, and I'm really grateful. Again, I want to say really grateful for those comments, and I took into all those comments and I put into this app, and I hope you guys will appreciate this, and I hope you guys will engage more and give me more feedback from this. So without any further delay, let's go into the coding section. Let's write down this app. Let's see how we can create this app. So the normal workflow which I always follow and I would also recommend is first to create a folder. So how you can create a folder from the terminal, you just fire your terminal, and the next thing you do is you say mkdir, which is the make directory, and give your folder name. So in my case, I give the folder name as Streamlit AgGrid Part 3 or the P3. Once you have that, open your favorite IDE, and in my case it is the VS Code. You can open whatever you like and open it. The next thing you need to create is a Python script file. You can use this button out here in the VS Code, which is this button. Otherwise, all you do is from the terminal say touch and give the name of your file, and it must have an extension of .py. That's it. That's all you need to create a new file within your folder. So once you have that, you are ready to write Python script. In order to start with, where we will write a Streamlit app, the few necessary or the few installation that must be there are the Streamlit, which is the main package which we need in order to build Streamlit app, and you just need to use this particular line of code called as pip install Streamlit, right? Just run it. In my computer it's already installed, so you just reinstall it. Version, if you write it like this, it will show you the latest version of Streamlit. It's 1.15.2, right? And once you have this, you need to install the other dependencies. For example, Streamlit AgGrid, you run the same syntax out here in the command terminal, pip install Streamlit AgGrid. It will install the latest version of Streamlit AgGrid. Otherwise, you also need the pandas package, which is very useful in order to make some data frames, and which we need today in our app. You just run pip install pandas. That's it. These are few of the packages which we need at this moment, and that's all. And the next thing, once we have the packages installed, the next thing we need is to import the dependencies. So how we do that? We say import Streamlit as st. We also need to import pandas, right? Import pandas as pd. Once this part is done, we create a dummy data frame, right? And in order to create a dummy data frame, we start from dictionaries. So let's say we have a dictionary like this. Cool. So we have a dictionary which has notebook, DVDs as a type. We have a quantity of 1, 2, the price, all of it. And then we call this pandas package, pandas.data frame, and we convert into a data frame. So basically we're converting a dictionary to a data frame. That's it. So once we have this, we can directly see this in our Streamlit app. How we can do that? We can either use st.dataframe, and we say st.dataframe df, which is basically our data frame in our case, or we just use st.table. Either of them is fine. That's it. That's all we need to write in order to visualize the data frame. Now let's try to run the Streamlit app from a local host. So for that, we say Streamlit run, and we say the script name Streamlit app.py. We fire our terminal, and it will open a local browser. It is reloading here, and as you can see, our data frame is already out there, right? Done. So once this part is done, the next part will be to see the Streamlit data frame in our AgGrid table. So all this we are seeing at this moment is a default Streamlit's table or data frame, right? The next thing we need is the AgGrid tables. So first we need to import the AgGrid. For that we will say we can just do it this way, from st AgGrid import AgGrid. That's all we need to import. And now if we just, let's say first we give a subheader or something, AgGrid, and if we just say AgGrid, because we have already imported it here, let me lower down this, and we just say df, we just put the data frame again inside it, and now it will open in a AgGrid table. And now if you say press always rerun, we see a typical AgGrid, right? There are a lot of other argument which you can use with the AgGrid module, but we won't use it now because we will use those later in our code. So this was one thing, to display our data frame in AgGrid. Next step is we want to create our buttons, right, which I showed in this demo app. So we want to create some buttons like this. How we can do that? So we need to inject some JavaScript code and also some CSS hacks out there. It's very simple, just we'll go line by line. I will show you how we can do that. But before I go that, let me show you from where I got this idea and how we can do that. You can also read this very nice blog post. So this is the main part, how to add buttons in AgGrid cells. This is what I actually first checked, and if you see it, it's very well described. And I took this part where class button cell renderer, this particular part of vanilla JavaScript, this did the trick for me until this. So these things were very easy to implement, and we will do the similar pattern in our code also. These are the few lines. So as you can see, we need to have this module.js code, and it is inbuilt with AgGrid, and we use this module called JS code. Once we have that, we create this, assign this particular variable, we use JS code, and then these are the nothing but what we saw in this typical blog post, the cell button cell renderer with params and all this part. You can see nothing but typical CSS codes, right? And this I again took it from this very nice and very easy to understand blog post, this one. So I just copied and pasted this part, and I just tweaked with few of the parameters in order to fit our particular button text within our AgGrid. That's all we need in order to render our button within the AgGrid. So once this part is written, when these lines of codes are written, the cell renderer is now written, and we expect that we can put this within our AgGrid table. But still now we haven't implemented it within AgGrid, so we need to do that. To add that part, so what we need to import is this, from st AgGrid options builder, we import grid options builder. What we'll first do is we say gd equal to grid option builder, which we just now we imported the module, and we say from data frame, and we just put the data frame which we have here, the data frame, right? We just put the data frame here, the data frame we created. The next line, let's say we go line by line. The next line we say configure default column. We just make the column editable because we need the column to be editable. So we just put that this line also. Also it just makes our AgGrid table or each and every cells editable. That's it. The next line, which is very crucial in our case, we say gd configure column. We need to configure this column which will have this cell renderer. And how we write it, we just give it a field name, any string is applicable here. We say functional tool or something, because this is the particular column which will consist of our button, right? And we'll add a cell renderer, or we say cell renderer argument, renderer. This is the typical argument which we need to have, and we put cell renderer add button, the variable where which we assigned for this entire piece of JavaScript injection, right? This particular few lines of JavaScript injection. So that's all. Most of this is all we need. Maybe we can, or it's okay. Let's try and see what we can see in our AgGrid table. Just one last line. So we also need to now kind of plot the AgGrid, if I say in that way, and it's a similar step what we did before. We need the data frame. We also will pass the grid options, which will basically, we didn't assign that yet because we need to build the grid options. So we say this way, grid options equal to gd.build. These are typical syntax of building the grid options in case of AgGrid, and which I've explained in the previous video also. Please have a watch there. I will drop the link in the comment section or in the description box. This is a typical way or the workflow when you build a AgGrid, which has a lot of other features. And that's it. And maybe we just also need to, since we're using JavaScript injection, we also need to allow unsafe JS code. We need to make a true or a false. It's true because we're injecting JavaScript here. That's it. And maybe we can also play around with the theme. You can check all the other themes which is available now in the AgGrid. A default one is Streamlit, but you can try others. I will try something called let's say something like this. That's it. I think that's all will be fine. We can also give the header height and the width, but it's fine now for time being. So I think this way of saying the grid option, the argument was wrong. If I write it this way, it should be grid options like this. Cool. So that argument was wrong. Now I think let's see if it works or not. You see? So the only thing which I changed was this part. The grid option argument was it was a typo, so it should be correct. And now we see that we have our functional tool, or the adding a particular button. That particular button is already there within our AgGrid table. So that's good, right? We already have it. But now if we click into this button, nothing happens. But if we keep in the cells, we can change it, right? You see, I can just make it as a laptop or laptop, and I can change it, right? But we cannot have any function within our AgGrid table which is consisting of the button. So now we need to add a function to this particular button. How will we do that? We need to again write few lines of JavaScript code, which is basically we're injecting JavaScript to add a new row. And this is pretty easy. It was also explained in the previous video how we can add or how we can select a particular row or how we can delete a row. So this time we'll add a row. How we can do that? So it's the same way. Let's say we say JS, we assign a variable, right? JS add row, and we use a JS code, the module which we imported, and now we just give like this. So, and now inside it we need to write. So the first thing we need to write is, let's say we say this way, function, and we say e, and here we first say, let's say we let API equal to, write this thing, automatically it will add a row at the end of the final row. We also need to implement that in here. So basically we have to just implement, right, on cell clicked, kind of whenever the cell is clicked, we say JS add row. That's something which we need to add here. That's it. So let's see if it works or not. I'm a bit suspicious, but I hope it works. Then we don't have much to do. So if I go back to our local host now and I say this, oh, nothing happens. So But maybe we need to add this features of height, which will probably it's too small so that we cannot see the changes which at times happen because we just kind of embed the AgGrid table. So maybe now if I add a look, that's it. So basically it was too small, we don't see it. So whatever we are adding at this moment is basically adding at the end. It doesn't matter if I add it here or here. But what I want, or what a user would be much more convenient, if I add here, it should be in between these two rows. Whatever I do, it's now going at the end. So it's basically appending at the end every time. I don't want that. So how to get that feature? So I will tweak with this a bit. So basically I add this 2 lines here. So basically I'm not trying to get the position of the row, the index of the row, e.row index, and I'm just adding an extra to it. So, and then I'm kind of appending at the end, and we're applying the transaction to there. Whatever we select underneath, we will add an extra row. Let's see how it works now. Okay, so now if I add a row here, if I just select this DVDs, if I add like this, it is underneath, right? Now what if I do in between these two? So if I add a row here in this notebook row column, let me zoom in a bit. If I add here, that means it should be in between notebook and DVDs I want to append. So I just this here, you see in between them. So this is something which I really wanted, these features, implement these features, which is very kind of convenient for the user or the end user or the client to use it. Because sometimes you don't want always to add the end, you want at between. So the next step will be to get the output of this AgGrid. How we can get that? It's very simple. We did it previously also. So I say st.write, and if we say response and we just say data, if I write it this way, we get the output here. Let's say I add something here. So if I say, let's say tree, and we just add a quantity of 5 or something, right? Once we do this way, you see it's getting updated every time, right? It's very simple. That's how it gets updated every time. Maybe I need to fix also one thing of which will show us this, because I don't want to scroll it every time. So maybe we can add this extra argument, fit columns on grid load, and this may help us to fix with this part. Yeah, cool. So this helps us to get this thing also. So let's say tree, quantity is 4, and we say 888, and we get updated. The next step is we want to make it much more compact. We want to put this whole thing within a select box and then allow the user to kind of confirm our selections. So how are we gonna do that? It's very simple. We use the power of st.form, right? We use st.form, and let's say we are planning to make an itinerary, right? Itinerary, and we say st.form as f, or something like that, and we just put whole thing inside the block, and then we just write the form submit button, st.form submit button, and we say like this, confirm item or something, confirm. And whenever the user confirms here, we dump it, we dump the data, right? So whenever, let's say we add something like laptop 5 and we say 700, it doesn't get automatically update until and unless there's a confirm item comes here. So this way user is always knowing that whenever there's a confirmation, then only it updates it. That makes it much more cleaner, right? So that's how I plan to do. You can just change it, you can make it as you want, you can make it all automated, everything is fine. So next step is, this is something which I saw, maybe we don't need this part now, our initial one, so I will just comment this part of the data frame. So we have a cell now, we have the JavaScript injection for adding a row, we have our form done. So let me just add a subheader and we say visualize, and here maybe we just put the confirmed, something like this. Cool. Cool. So how we visualize it? We just use typical Streamlit syntax. So it's very easy to use. We use st dot, let's say, bar chart, and perhaps it will be easy if we assign this data before and in a variable. So let's say we say race is this, and then we don't need to call it every time. It's just convenient to use. And then we just use, let's say we use data is race, and we need to have our x-axis. We want our x-axis as the type, and our y-axis let's say as the price, right? Let's see if the bar plot comes up. You see the bar plot is already there. So the bar plot has taken the newly assigned whatever the edit we did. Let me refresh this whole stuff. So now whenever let's say add something here, let's say TV quantity 3, and we just, let's say something like this. Still now it's not updated. Whenever I press the confirm button, you see it's getting updated. That's how it's very simple and very easy to use once we have this cleaner way of assigning confirmation, and then we visualize it all can be automated together. That's the power of it. The next part is you need to download this data, right? You can do one way is this, export it with CSV export, go to this table. It's very convenient to use. Or the other way, which I would like to also to show, to a format which can be downloaded. So basically you just convert your data frame. We just call that function selling, let's say CSV convert df, and I just put res inside it. That's it. And now if you see, there will be a download button out here which will help us to download it. Press to download. So this will download in the local machine, right? Still doesn't send our data or updated data which we created here to our cloud yet. In order to do that, we have to connect our Google Sheet to it, our Google spreadsheet to it. How we're going to do that? So before I come to that, let me quickly recapitulate what we have done. So we have created a AgGrid table using typical AgGrid syntax like this. We made it editable using a syntax like this here, which is here. So basically everything is editable now. Each and every cell is editable. We can also add the particular button, the cell renderer add button syntax, which we use out here. Cell renderer add button. This is a particular argument where we called this particular variable here, which we wrote, which is basically a summation of all the a JavaScript injection of all the CSS blocks of code. And also, in order to give this button a function to it, we use this particular line of code is out here. How it will add a row just underneath it. That's how you did it. Once we have this, we visualize this, we can download it. So now we come to the final section of this app where you'd love to connect whatever data we have in our AgGrid or whatever is updated in this itinerary confirmed. We want to send this to the cloud. That's the most exciting part. So how are we going to do that? For that, we need to establish a connection with this AgGrid with our database or with our Google spreadsheets. I already have a video where I clearly explain how to establish this connection, how to use or leverage the APIs, and there is also a very nice blog from Streamlit itself which says connect Streamlit to a private Google spreadsheet. You can just follow this process where you just need to enable the Sheets API to create a project out there. The service key, you need to have a JSON file which you download. You have to copy all the content of the JSON file within a particular secrets or term. You create a new file which is called secrets.toml inside the folder called .streamlit, like I have made out here. So once this part is done, you paste all the content of your JSON file. That's it. once it's inside that secrets.toml, you can easily access via the Streamlit st.secrets command. So in this step, we need two more modules which you need to import. So we need the google.auth. This is something which we need in order to have the service account to establish a connection. We need this particular module called gspread. You can easily download it using pip install gspread. It's a very popular module. I also have a YouTube video on it, how we use gspread pandas, gspread data frame. This is very useful when you are connecting with your Google spreadsheet. This two particular module which we need. And then we have to write a function which is basically, I will go line by line. We need to create a Google authentication connection object where we use this scope. And then we try to attach our credentials to it. It's very easy. We call the secrets, which is in the name, which is basically in a dictionary format. So Streamlit's pretty much well elaborated how you write this secrets.toml. You just rewrite this part, and here in order to map your secrets. So here I use Streamlit st.secrets function to call that. Then you just connect it. So I say gspread, I authorize my credentials assigned here, and then I open my database. So if you see here, the name of my particular database, which is inside my Google Drive, is named as AgGrid database. I use the same name out here. And also you need to write the name of your worksheet. So basically it's right now it's a default sheet 1. So I write that here, which is my worksheet. And also I just use a bar to also show according to our spreadsheet, which shows me a progress bar. But I am not huge fan of how I wrote this particular lines to update each and every rows. But this is a workaround to it. You can use this code, or you can write your own code for it. And then I return a success message that it is updated. So basically I just say if button, let's say send to database, and I call this function which we just know right now wrote, send to database, and we just put the argument as our data frame, which is basically our updated data frame out here, the itinerary confirmed data frame, which is basically the name of res. If we see out here, which is in the name of res, so we just need to pass this as an argument here. That's it. I just need to correct it, st.button. That's all we need to write in order to send our data to the Google spreadsheet. It's very easy. And once we save this part and we go back to our app, if we see, we have this button now. So let me first clean my Google spreadsheet here, so that we are certain that we are sending new sets of data. So as you can see, it's clean now. And if I now press this button out here, send to database, if I go back here, you will see all of them in the real time is getting updated in the database. It's pretty cool, right? Let's say we make some changes in our app. So let's say we add a extra, let's say a row out here. We say, let's say plants. We give a type, we give a quantity of, let's say 4, and we add something, let's say 55. And then we confirm the items. Keep an eye on this visualization as well. And we say confirm items. We see a plants is out there, but since we have a very large number here, let me make it as, let's say 100. And I confirm the items. We have a very nice visualization, and now you can download it, or we can send it to database. And now if I go back to my database here, all of them are getting updated in real time. So we started with making an AgGrid table. We added the buttons out here using the CSS and the JavaScript injection, where you give functionality to these buttons, and also update the input out here as the itinerary confirmed, visualize it, whatever is updated, and finally he or she can download it and as well as send it to the database. So it's like a compact app which we made with the power of Streamlit AgGrid, and also connecting this to our database, which is the Google spreadsheets. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments and feedbacks in the comment section. I'll be really happy to go through them, and also send me your suggestions. And please don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.